Alright, welcome everyone to the long-awaited episode 3 of the high-end crafting series. This is all about the Quiver, a video I've been promising multiple times at this point. We're about 1 week left in the end of the season, so probably not going to be of much use to you this season, but everybody's talking about Quivers right now because they just decided to buff the heck out of them, moving into 3.17. And while the Quiver craft I'm going to mention actually doesn't have anything to do with attack skills per se, it's a double dot multiplier Quiver, I think you'll find it to be interesting. There's one particular thing towards the end I will mention, hopefully I don't forget. And by the way, I mean, damage dot over time multiplier didn't get nerfed in any way, shape, or form as far as I know. So what I'm showing you guys here is still going to be highly relevant, especially Toxic Rain, because I know a lot about Toxic Rain, the stat priorities of that build, and they absolutely want a tier 1 double dot multi on the Quiver at the high end. So here is the craft I'm mentioning. You saw it on the thumbnail, no doubt. That Quiver I sold for 75 exalts. That was the Quiver I had before this one you see right now. All I wanted was to change the base, so I had my own Quiver. It was a shark tooth Quiver. It was good. It had the life on hit, but one additional socket definitely better. Now, Ornate Quiver in particular is a little bit unusually difficult to get. The only way you can get it is by purchasing a large handful of Maloney's mechanisms here. So this is a little bit of a side point here. I saved all these back because what I'm going to do to show you how to get this base is you have to Valorb all of them. And all of these have a minimum item level of 82. I'm going to explain that in a second why that is. So when I Valorb these, I want them to come out rare. I'm hoping they come out rare. Because if they come out unique, well, it doesn't have much use to me. They can still be resold, by the way. Each of these Quivers cost me about 50 chaos. And that was, you know, pretty nice pricing. At the time, I did have a live search up and just waited for them to show up, and I was pretty easily able to do that midway through the season. Here at the last week before the end of the season, you can't buy them for that price, really. But as you can see, I'm trying to get some of the highest item level I can here. 82 is really all you need, but I am going to actually, just for making it pretty, I'm going to go for 84 if I can. Do I have 84? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. 83, 83. Oh no, I can't do 83. Oh well, or 84. Oh well. So I have 5 rare Ornate Quivers. Thought I did anyway. Let me try that again. I have 5 rare Ornate Quivers, and when I try to sell them to a vendor, they give me back a clean, uncorrupted version. And you see the item level is going to be of the lowest item level in here. So the lowest one's 83. Long story short, I'll explain a little later, but you need at least item level 82 to acquire the stats you want. So that is there. Now, do I have enough for another one? No. So this is pretty typical results. Only about a 25-30% chance to get rare back on that. Now, I bought these all for, again, 50 to all the way up to 100 chaos a piece. I could probably sell them back for about half that value, corrupted, surprisingly. Because they are evidently, this is evidently a pretty useful Quiver for certain builds, so that's part of why it's so expensive. But this Quiver is a nice clean base, and if you want to see how much this base is actually worth, this is kind of crazy. Let's check out the value of this base just by itself. Well, it comes up with 0, so I'm actually gonna have to check offline to even get a good glimpse at this. So check Scourge offline here, and the base, base cost offline is 18 exalts. So actually, you could have made money just selling them, just buying these like I did. Granted, I was spending about maybe on average half an exalt per Quiver, and I had to buy like maybe 15 of them or so, just to get it. So yeah, I mean, it's going to cost you like probably a little less than 10 exalts just to even acquire this base. But the interesting thing is, next season, you won't necessarily need this base or even want this base because they're buffing Quivers so much in the implicit. We now have an attack speed implicit that's going to be super good. I think at the very, very upper echelon of endgame gearing, the extra socket might win out there because having that extra gem is super good. When you already have like tons of stats, you're already super well geared, you can drop off an attack speed roll perhaps, and it might be worth it just to get the extra gem. But this season, absolutely, there's no question, this was the best base. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe this unique quiver will be worth a lot less and it'll be easier to get the base. Maybe the base itself won't be worth that much. But rest assured that this craft will be relevant because we're going to want to... people are going to want this quiver. Now, the interesting thing about this particular quiver is about midway through the season, I needed to buy my own base. Or my own quiver. Or just, have it done already for me. I used to play Burning Arrow Elementalist, so I had a double dot multi-quiver. I knew all about them anyway, with fire instead of chaos. And I knew, I want it with high amount of life as a prefix. And I remember it cost quite a bit to get that, but nothing insane. And to be able to get, like, even 5 of the modifiers you want on such a quiver was almost impossible. So I knew I would just go on trade and see what existed there. And I was really surprised to learn that it was like the quivers were either virtually perfect or they didn't exist. There was like no in between. And what I discovered is that there were some people who found a secret about this craft. They figured out how to make this craft and make really, really good items and then charge an arm and a leg for them, and people would absolutely buy them. The quiver you saw me sell on the thumbnail was one such quiver, and I did craft that myself. I replaced it with this one because I wanted to change the base, and I crafted this one myself for surprisingly a low amount of currency. Now, if you saw the quiver I sold, this is almost identical stats, by the way. And the quiver I sold for 75x I sold it in like a day, I think. Knowing that the base on this is worth infinitely more than the base of the other one, what do you think this would sell for? Because I don't even know. I'm guessing it's well over 100 exalts if I actually went out to sell this quiver. And in retrospect, I probably should have crafted a few of these and tried to sell them earlier on in the season. But I was a little bit late to the party, and it is a bit of a niche craft. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, me sharing this information about this craft, I am shooting myself in the foot a little bit next season, because I really do fully intend to craft a few of these. Not necessarily now with the changes to the quiver bases, probably not with the Ornate Quiver base, probably with the attack speed base. But people are going to make a lot of money. The people who know about this craft are going to make a lot of money. So what is so surprising about the stats on this is not the fact that I managed to get tier 1 double dot multi, okay? That's not terribly difficult to conceive how to do that. It's the fact that when I saw these on trade, just like this, there were so many of them that had double tier 1 dot multi with an open suffix and good prefixes at the same time. Now, the interesting thing about an open suffix is that with an open suffix, you can have an attack speed roll on there. Very highly desirable one. Now, I don't for this one, in this case, because, well, the really cool thing about having an open suffix is that it's a flex slot. You can roll it however you want. I mean, the attack speed roll is fantastic roll on there. It's almost the same as tier 1 anyway. And then you can cover your bases on your resistances, the ones you're missing, which is what I'm doing here. So it's actually even more valuable than just a straight up tier 1 attack speed roll, in my opinion. Having the open suffix slot to do whatever you want with it. And for those bench crafts on the suffix of a quiver to be so powerful and so flexible, it didn't even occur to me. Like, I never had that before. So I was surprised to see these open suffixes. So that was really interesting. I was like, what? How do they... Okay, well, I get how they do the suffix, but how in the world are they getting, high tier maximum life on a prefix while retaining the open suffix? Now, that didn't make any sense to me at first, because I know that if you metacraft, suffixes cannot be changed with an open suffix. there's like a 90% chance it's going to close that suffix. So it's like, are these people really blowing 4x per craft? They're putting can roll 3 modifiers and then putting suffixes cannot be changed, and then crafting reforged life, harvest reforged life more common to get the max life roll that may or may not be high tier. I was like, well, I mean, I guess that makes sense why they were so expensive, but here's the thing. They all look the same. All these quivers look the same by about 3 different sellers. There are only like 3 or 4 different sellers, and on these quivers, there are a few different bases on there. They all just look the same. It was obvious to me that there was a systematic way to craft this, a very deterministic way to craft this to make it come out this way. And it was pretty obvious to me that people were making a killing on them because I kept seeing these same quivers come and go. They weren't just sitting on the trade site for long periods of time. No, they were getting sold at 30, 40, 50, 60x a piece with random bases, like not even a good quiver base, which is kind of hilarious to me why people would craft this quiver with a mediocre base, not even a shark tooth quiver for the current season. So that's the preface to this video. I did eventually figure out how they did it, and I'm going to walk you through it right here. We're going to use the usual resources, and that's going to be POEDB to check weightings on some of the rolls. We're going to use Craft of Exile. Get a couple screens here because we're going to use the emulator and the calculator. So let's go through it, shall we? We got, I'm just going to walk through it, just, you know, as if self-discovering it, just like you guys will experience, and I will explain as much in detail, you know, various different steps of this craft, different things you can do with it. For certain points you might want to sell it, what's going on, you know, in my mind, checking the weightings, looking at the minimum cost, the average cost. You can see down here the minimum cost of this thing is only 15 exalts. And by the way, that's doing an Aisling craft at the end, which that's my take on it. I do think it's actually worth doing an Aisling craft at the end. All these other quivers people were selling for 30, 40, 50x didn't even do the Aisling craft. They left that part out, which meant which dramatically reduces the average cost, actually. So the average cost of such a quiver to make was like less than 30x, and people were selling them for 50x, just back and forth, constantly, just making so much currency doing that. So let's go through it. First, we're going to check trade for a few of the steps here we have in here. And I will give you a link to this particular page that you see, linked right here. First step, it's kind of in chronological order. So, of course, the very, very first thing you would want to check is maybe for a hunter influence quiver of your choice. So, I don't know. Probably not Ornate Quiver because I already checked that. So that's a little bit of a special case. Shark Tooth Quiver is a good one to check here. Let's see what this is worth. Now, item level, it has to be a certain item level. So actually we'll back up a step and we need to verify what item level we need to have. It says 82 for step 1. Now why is it 82? Well, we're going to go from high max life. Now what is high max life? In my opinion, it's tier 1 or tier 2. Some people might settle for tier 3, but most of the quivers I saw selling were tier 1 or tier 2. And you can see it's 64 there. Well, that's a joke. You know, that's nothing. Every quiver you're going to find is going to be at least item level 64. On the suffix side, more importantly, we got the double dot multi. So for the just straight up damage dot multiplier with 82. So that's a big one, and that's the highest item level you see in there. You know, we don't have to worry about the resist or anything because we're not going to have like a tier 1 resist. We're just going to have an open suffix. The tier 1 chaos dot multiplier, or any element, by the way, if you're burning arrow elementalist, whatever, you go for fire, it's only 80. Okay, so again, 82 currently the top. You know, you want movement speed, maybe it's also 80. They're all 80 is there. So 82 is all you need. You don't need an item level 86 or even 85 or even 84 to do this, which means very high likelihood, maybe no, even I don't think there's any exception to this. Basically, in every single case, you're not going to want to hunter slam this item. You're going to want to buy it pre-hunter influence because people running T14, T15, T16 hunter influence maps, whatever. Like, there's a lot of quivers that are going to drop. Some of the correct best bases are going to drop. And we want an item level 82 minimum. And that's offline. Okay, well, it would be a little bit more fair here. I think we can check online here for this. Yeah, you know, you're looking at 10, 20, 30 chaos. Pretty much nothing. Pretty much nothing. As you check other bases, it really is like they're selling for alchemy orbs. So, I mean, it's absolutely super cheap. The market's going to be flooded with them very quickly. Very quickly. They will be a little bit more expensive like in the first, I don't know, maybe the first week. But honestly, after the first week, I mean, they're gonna go down really fast. So that's probably your best starting point, is to just buy the item there. But you might want to purchase it with the tier 1 damage over time multiplier for attack skills already in place. And that option's right here. So now I'm looking for ones that have tier 1 damage. Now the problem with this is it's not clean, right? It has other suffixes on it, and that's not acceptable. So unless I'm willing to, you know, buy one and then try to null orb, which, you know, I might do, like if the quiver was on sale for like 30 chaos or 40 chaos, it might be worth trying to null it off and then start it off that way. But chances are not, because we got beast crafting involved here with Caustic Arrow. And yeah, so but before we get into that, let's go into step 5 here, because it says, you know, you might want to buy it step 5. Step 5 is with the chaos and then so the double dot multi tier 1 already in place. Wow. Let's check offline because there were none available for Sharktooth. Okay, so you're already looking at 8x. Now, to get to this point, you're not going to have to spend 8x. You're only going to have to spend on average like 4 or 5x. Totally not worth it. Now maybe for a different base, you know, there are going to be some. You know, maybe okay, that's not a real one. That's not a real sell. But you know, 5x. You know, honestly, it just doesn't look like it's worth it. It just doesn't in this case. Now things are a little bit screwbally here because this is like the last week of the season, so it's kind of hard to really anticipate. Yeah, but I don't know. I should have mentioned, you know, again, this craft would apply fairly well to fire or physical dot multiply, so bleed bow or ignite bow builds for the most part. The prefixes, you might do a few things differently, but at least the start of this craft absolutely will translate over to bleed bow, quiver craft, or ignite bow, quiver craft for sure. The suffixes you're going to want identical, I'm pretty sure. Unless you're like hell-bent on getting extra additional arrow on bow, which is a new suffix that's coming out in the next season, which you could substitute that for the one of the damage dot multipliers, not both, but you could substitute it for one potentially. Let's check out step 6. Skip this. This one is about having both the tier 1 dot multi with a clean suffix already in place. Very unlikely. I mean, you're going to find this for a cheap price. Chances are if somebody has a craft that resulted in this right here, they probably know what they're doing. They're probably finishing the craft. But there is a possibility, if you had this life search, you might be able to snatch one up with somebody who didn't realize how much it's worth. Yeah, we're looking at minimum for any base. We're looking at minimum like 12, 13x. For that. Now, I will say this, getting the clean suffix is one of the most expensive parts of this craft. So one should be willing to spend multiple exalts for this step to skip straight to step 6. You can see that's a 5x average cost there to get that just in that step. But anyway, again, I think it's pretty straightforward. Most of the time, you're going to just buy whatever base you want, item level 82 plus, already hunter influence. It's not going to be worth paying for the hunter orb to try and slam in what you want. Just absolutely not going to be worth it. So with that in mind, we're going to start on step 1. Either roll or buy an eye level 82 base of your choice, hunter influence quiver with tier 1 damage over time multiplier with attack skills, and we're going to roll that in all likelihood. To roll that, let's see. I'm not going to check all the various different ways to roll it because it's pretty obvious the way I'm doing it here that we're going to go into the calculator. And we're probably going to, want to do orb of alteration spam on this. So what we want tier 1 dot multi. And that's it. Like, you just want to see how long it takes to get just this modifier with a prefix or not. And you're looking at about 47 chaos worth, or maybe more accurately, because of prices that might fluctuate, about 200 and a little over 200 tries to hit that. Not too bad, really. You know, way less than an exalt. Definitely going to be worth it. Yeah, so let's move on. It's pretty easy to hit. Step 2, skip this step assuming the quiver is magic and has no prefixes. Now, when you roll this, there's a more likely than not, it is going to have a prefix already in there. And unlike in my amulet craft, because this suffix is not that hard to hit, you're not going to want to metacraft suffixes cannot be changed and scour it off. You're not going to do that. No, instead, we're actually just going to chance it with an annul orb. That's going to be a cheaper bet, because if it misses, fine, whatever. You know, that's much cheaper than metacrafting to get it off of there. And it's going to cost you an average of another 0.5x, because 50% of the time it's going to fail, and you're going to have to re-roll it. So the total cost of quiver on average is just about 1x. To get this clean, with just this suffix on there, about 1 exalt on average. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare for the Beastcraft Quake Chimeral imprint here. And we're going to metacraft suffixes cannot be changed. So I do need to actually follow through with what we're doing here. Should load it up, right? So we're going to go into emulator this time. And we're going to create a new item. And unfortunately, I can't create the new item yet with the attack speed base, but I'll just use Sharktooth Quiver for this case. We just need item level 82. We need to have Hunter Influence. And then we got... So we're gonna, you know, the very first thing you're gonna do is just spam... You're just gonna spam this like crazy until you hit, and you know, you can use the augment orbs if you want. Oh, sorry, whatever this one is, forgot the name of it. Augmentation orb. What is the name of that orb again? Augmentation, yes, okay. Wow, slipped my mind there. I'm not going to sit here and wait for this to hit for the sake of making the video. Oh, I think I saw it, actually. Oh, okay. So there, I mean, there I hit tier 5. There's at least 5 tiers of this level, so it is going to take them time. But let's say, you know, I hit something like this. And a very likely outcome when you finally hit this is you're going to have the suffix pool. I'm going to find... damage over time multiplier. Yeah, you can see there's 5 tiers. We want tier 1. So very likely that after, again, over 200 tries, you're going to end up with something like this. It's probably going to have a prefix on there. Now, if this item was extremely hard to hit, like +1 dex gems on the amulet I did before, probably going to want to clean it off the expensive surefire way by scouring off only the prefix via metacraft. But in this case, no, we're just going to annul orb. Boom. Got it. Got exactly what we wanted. So that's step 1 done. Step 2, or step 2 done actually. Step 3 is we're going to metacraft. Suffixes cannot be changed. So that's over here. Suffixes cannot be changed. And we're good. Guess what's next? Yep, you guessed it. One of the major epiphanies I had when I was looking up how to craft this item and realized how to... the best way to get double dot multi is probably through beast crafting imprint, and not because like right now the older version of me who didn't know as much about how to craft would have been doing this right here. Doo-doo. Oh no, hey, I got lucky. I got that. Oh, but wait, I got that. So actually I got really lucky there and hit that. But you know, most of the time I'm not, because I'm gonna hit chaos resistant or even just chaos on the prefix side. and then, oh, my quiver is messed up. So now what would I do in this case? Well, I would, you know, the older me would have been trying to null off everything. Oh no, I just nulled off the modifier I want. Now I gotta re-roll it again from the start, go all the way to step 1. So, and that's gonna cost me 2 exalts every time, right? Because even if I did manage to get it down, like, wherever, wow, this take a lot of luck to even get that back down to this. I would have to do this again, and then again, just blowing like it's just a terrible way to do this craft. So unless imprint beasts are worth like 2 exalts or more, what you're gonna do, and actually I will mention that, I mentioned that in another one, beast. I do want to show this in case you hadn't seen the other video. When we check the price of the imprint beast, we're gonna see it's 156 chaos. So that was about 1x. But the truth is, through most of the season, it's not worth that much, because what happens is the multi-boxers, botters, and real money trade players. I'm kind of speculating here, but I'm pretty sure some of the most egregious real money players in this game are actually like 6-man party beast farming players. Probably. I mean, if I was trying to make real money in this game, I would probably do a 6-man party beast crafting farming, just sell beasts and just get, you know, 5 free copies of every beast I find. I would just sell them. That honestly would be an incredibly lucrative way to play the game, but I'm not going to do that because that's not what I'm all about. But you can see here that the competition for such a thing is pretty high in the beginning. This beast is only worth, you know, 50, 70 chaos, and for the sake of this craft, and basically every time I'm showing these crafting videos, I'm going to go through, I'm going to just anticipate that whatever this beast is worth midway through the season, through the majority of the season, is how we're going to price it. The price point, which in this case, half an exalt, basically, 70, 75 chaos. So that's why I priced it there. Beastcraft, Quake Cameral, Harvest, Reforge, Chaos, more common. That's why it's only 0.5 chaos there, and not a full, or 0.5 exalts. Sorry, I misspoke, and not a full exalt. So just getting that out of the way. So that means the next thing we're doing is we're going to Beastcraft, because we are on step 4. And we're going to imprint. Boom, there it is. You get this funny little looking orb. And now I can harvest, Reforge, Chaos, more common. Yeah. Boom. Okay, a pretty common result here. Now, we can see that a few things are going to happen here, and it's a good time to check out the weightings here to see what happens. So for chaos, you know, I might hit prefix, but quite often it'll hit suffix, because there's way more going on the suffix side. We have chaos resistance at a total of 1500 weighting, and then we have chaos.multiplier at a total of 1000 weighting. So you have a 2 out of 5 chance, basically, approximately 2 out of 5 chance to hit a chaos.multiplier on the item, but only a 1 in 5 chance to hit tier 1. So I did hit tier 2 in this case. A common result. Let's see what we're supposed to do next here. It says skip this step, assuming the Harvest Reforge resulted in tier 1 chaos damage multiplier with attack skills. Well, it did not. It ended up with tier 2. If it hit tier 2 chaos damage over time multiplier with attack skills, probably the best thing, this isn't necessarily like you're not cutting any major corners doing this, but in my opinion, the best thing to do in this case, the Harvest Reforge more likely to receive same modifiers. And that is right here, Reforge more likely. Now, the more likely is interesting. I don't know exactly what the weightings are, but I'd say at least like well over 50% chance that each individual modifier will re-roll into the same modifier at a random tier level. Over 50% chance. So you got at least like a 30% chance of retaining the double dot multiplier each time you do this craft. Let's see what happens with this. Now I did. Now it's tier 3. damage dot multiply, and I did get tier 1 chaos. Well, that's no good though. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to do it again. Let's see what happens. Now, okay, now I went back to tier 1 damage dot over time multiplier with attack skills, but I lost my chaos dot multi completely. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take the imprint, boom, right back to here. Because we're going to reforge more likely to receive same modifiers until double tier 1 dot multi, tier 1 chaos dot multi, or brick. I just bricked it. A common result. Otherwise, return to step 4. And because it's about a 1 in 5 chance of getting the double dot tier 1 double dot multi through this entire process, that's why it's a 2.5 exalt there, because each time you beast imprint, it's 2.5 exalt. So we have to do it again. We have to go in and, well, the first thing we got to do is we got to re-imprint. And now we're going to go to Harvest, Reforge, Chaos. More common, important to use more common here because there are multiple Chaos rolls. You might end up with Chaos Resist and Chaos dot multi, which would be fine. In this case, oh, boom, okay. Wow, it even hit a decent max life roll, surprisingly. Here we go. So I got double tier 1 dot multi, but we have a problem. The problem is that I hit... Oh, actually, I didn't realize there's another chaos. I forgot about this. I'm going to go ahead and leave the pricing the same because you still have it's still under the more common rubric. So because it's more common, you know, it's still likely to hit. So there actually is another 1,000 waiting in the chaos. I missed this the first time when I checked this through, and that's with poison damage. I'm glad we got that straightened out. But again, with more common, you're still looking about a 20% chance of hitting the right modifier, and you're seeing I'm hitting it pretty easily actually, getting a little lucky, maybe. But the problem is Toxic Rain, Caustic Arrow does not do poison damage, despite conventional wisdom, maybe. So I don't want this modifier on here. Now, how do I get rid of it? Well, it says here, skip step 6. Because I now have double dot tier 1 multiply, I can skip step 5 now. We go to step 6. Skip this step assuming the harvest reforge resulted in an open third suffix. It did not. If not, sell the item as is for profit, which would actually probably be a decent idea in this case because I hit tier 3 max life. Really not a bad idea in this case. I think this would sell for a pretty penny. Let's see. Because, wow, yeah, let's check this actually. So I have, instead of open suffixes, I'm going to do a life roll. Let's say, I don't know, 60 life or more with double tier 1 dot multi with any base whatsoever. And this is going to come out pretty expensive, right? Yeah, this is going to come out at least, this is offline, by the way, with 2 months ago. It's a little misleading. I wouldn't really trust that one, but okay, a month ago, a couple days ago, looking at around 14, 12, 13, 14 exalts, and I haven't spent anywhere near that much yet. So this is a great craft for, you know, selling things in the process. They don't go exactly the way you want them to go, but they go pretty good in the way. You don't necessarily have to scrap the item and start over certain steps. You can always sell it in the middle of the process. That, you know, I don't know, is it a secret or not? I mean, that's a big way a lot of crafters earn their money. They don't always hit what they're going for, but they generally hit something good that is very sellable for a profit. And you just saw me right there through playing with the app. I very quickly, with almost no expense whatsoever. I mean, it probably cost me, if this had happened in the game, I mean, I've only invested like 5 exalts in this item so far, and it's already worth, right here, just right here, it's worth something like, certainly over 10 exalts. I can bench craft a decent prefix on here as well. And well, actually, I suppose it's worth a lot more because if I'm not mistaken, I don't know that much about poison build, but if I'm not mistaken, this might actually be absolute top tier poison suffixes. Maybe. So anyway, just imagine it's a completely random third suffix, not even a poison suffix. It would still be worth at least 10 exalts. Yeah. So, yeah, this might actually be worth like 50 exalts just with these 3 suffixes in place, because that would be really hard to hit on purpose. let's go back, because of course I'm not just gonna not show you the rest of the crap. I would definitely sell that item as a hit. Let's go through here, and I'm going to go a little more quickly. I'm not going to actually use the built-in function of imprinting. You now understand, hopefully, what it is. I'm just going to use the function to go quickly by undoing when I hit. Let's play around with this a little bit, see how often to hit. So no hit there. No hit there. I'm looking for tier 1 chaos.multiplier. Okay, boom, I hit that there with chaos resistance. Again, more common. That's why you want to use more common. There, I hit the poison mod without something. So multiplier. Nope, nothing there. Nothing there. Yeah, okay. Wow, I filled up all 6 modifiers there. It was a little bit annoying. In this case, I would, of course, reforge, keep suffixes to clear up the prefixes, just like that. And then I would attempt to, actually no, the first thing I would have done is actually attempt to annul off the lightning resistance there, which failed. But let's imagine I did successfully there. Well, then the next thing I would do is I would put a random suffix on here, and then keep suffixes, and boom, I got the quiver exactly where I want it, right here. Sorry, I went through that a little bit fast, but just kind of mentioning of sometimes you do fill up all 6 affixes, and you need to, you know, rejig it a little bit. Let's go back to this point again. Okay, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot more time on this, but let's try to hit it one more time. Okay, good. All right, this is a pretty common outcome. Can I hit tier 3 life? So what do I do in this case here? Skip this step, assuming the harvest reforge resulted in a open third suffix. If not, sell the item as if for profit, or alternatively, annul off the 3rd suffix. So that's what I'm going to do in this case. Again, in all honesty, I would probably sell this item because it hit tier 3 maximum life. But for the sake of getting through this craft, I'm going to try to annul off the chaos. I annulled off the max life. Got to go again. Oh, missed. Okay, and if that happens, well, you know, that's why the 5x average cost is there, because it's a 1 in 3 annul, and most of the time you're going to close the 3rd suffix. Not all the time, but most of the time you are. It's just going to take you back to step 4, where you got to, you know, do it all over again. Here we go. Nothing there. Again, I just keep, this is the same as just keep beast crafting it over and over again until I hit the chaos.multi. I'm getting a little unlucky actually right now. I'm not seeing the chaos.multi. Oh, actually, sorry, I messed that up. Never mind, scratch that. I didn't have it back to where I needed to be. Chaos.multi, trying to hit chaos.multi. Okay. Alright, again, if I have this is tier 2. If this happens, reforge more likely. Oh, shoot. Back to this square one again. And going for chaos.multi. Tier 2 again. Well, alright. Reforge more likely. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Reforge more likely is very cheap, so that's why it's worth doing. Back to trying to hit chaos.multi. Surprising I'm not hitting it very much here. Okay, tier 1, tier 1. Alright, so again, we're going to try to annul. It's a 1 in 3 to annul off the chaos resistance, because that's where we're at on step 6. And here we go. Oh, failed. Alright, well, I'm just going to fast forward there. There, I hit it. It took me 4 tries to get it, so I was a little bit unlucky there. But now, I finally got the quiver exactly where I want to. And this quiver at this point is actually, this quiver is right now is basically worth a small fortune. If you get a quiver to this point here, you're talking like tens of exalts, basically. Oh, well, well over 10 exalts. Let's put it that way. Well over 10 exalts in value to have a quiver in this position right here. Let's see. Let's move on to step 7. Benchcraft cannot roll attack modifiers. The big eureka moment. This is where it finally dawned on me. This is honestly the biggest moment in my crafting career this season, was discovering this modifier. Now, I actually did know about this modifier, but it never really occurred to me how it could be abused. Not abused, but used as intended. Let's see here. So if I put cannot roll cast modifiers, I now have step 7 finished. Oh, why am I doing that? No, that's not attack. I know you guys are laughing at me right now. It says it right here in the sheet. Let's just rewind that. Pretend I said attack modifiers. Cannot roll attack modifiers. For the record, I haven't found a use of cannot roll cast modifiers yet, but I suppose that would be for wands or something. Cannot roll attack modifiers on the quiver. There we go. What does that mean? Well, we still got to finish the prefixes. So what happens when I try to finish the prefixes? Take a look at the prefixes here. Maximum life. No attack tag. Physical damage to attacks. Fire damage to attacks. Cold damage to attacks. Lightning damage to attacks. Physical attack damage leached as life. Increase elemental damage with attacks. Physical attack damage leached as mana. Only one modifier doesn't have the attack tag, and it's maximum life. Now that's actually going to change next season because increased elemental damage with attacks is being changed to increased damage with bows, and we don't know for sure. The patch notes are actually coming out tomorrow, I hear. Just by the wording, I suspect that means it will not have the attack tag, and it's going to be a very good roll for Toxic Rain still. So that's actually going to... this craft is actually going to improve indirectly because of that. If, for example, only the maximum life and only the damage with bows modifiers open for a roll, that's just going to be outstanding. Now, of course, those are not the only prefixes. We do have the hunter prefixes here at only a 500, 500, and 1,000 weighting against how much max life rating? 10,000 max life rating? Well, are you getting the picture yet? Basically, when you add prefixes to this quiver at this point, almost every single one of them is going to be a max life roll. Almost all of them. But it might hit projectiles pierce an additional target. Now, for Toxic Rain, that's not really worth a whole lot. It might hit max chaos resistant. I mean, maybe if you go in Divine Flesh, I don't think people are doing that a whole lot now. But you also might hit, with the higher weighting, you might hit increased movement speed, which is one of the best prefixes you can get on there. So basically, we just improved our prospects of hitting good prefixes like at least tenfold. At least tenfold. My chances of finishing this quiver with really good rolls on the prefixes now way higher than it would have been if I just did suffixes like my old form of crafting, where metacraft suffixes cannot be changed, reforged, life more common. This is unbelievably better. And by the way, this is not just good for quivers, this is also good for other slots, like gloves, for example. The way I crafted some of my gloves this season, I did a similar thing. But it is absolutely super niche best metacraft for quivers. Unbelievably good. Again, if you're not running an attack bow build. Now, if you are running an attack bow build, this changes things, of course. But if you are running Toxic Rain or Ignite or Bleed Bow, this is just... there's no better way to do it. So what are we going to do now? Reforge, harvest, keep suffixes. Well, that makes sense, right? I have my Bankscraft locked in. The suffixes are locked, and now I want to just add prefixes. Well, I want to clean off this damage to attacks, of course. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to harvest. I'm going to go to, no, not influence. I'm going to go to other, reforge, keep suffixes, and boom. Let's see what happens. Oh, okay. So I hit 5 modifiers, 2 prefixes, a low tier max life roll, and projectile pierce additional target. Step 9. Skip this step assuming harvest, reforge, and or subsequent exalt slams. We'll get into that. Resulted in tier 1 or tier 2 maximum life, because that's what I consider a high life roll. To make the quiver really valuable. With an open prefix remaining. So I do have an open prefix remaining. I need that to finish the quiver the way I want. But I don't have tier 1 or tier 2 max life. And if I exalt slam something in, it's not going to give me max life. So this is not a good result. It's just not a good result, unfortunately. If the harvest reforge results in closing all 3 prefixes with a great outcome, which might be the case, sell the item as is for profit. Otherwise, return to step 8, 10 exalts. Now, why is it 10 exalts on here? Well, that's because you can see in all the weightings that I'm virtually guaranteed a max life roll with 2 prefix slots. So I want to hit 2 prefixes, basically. And I'm virtually guaranteed a max life roll. I might hit 2 influence modifiers instead, but the tags are very low on that. So we can see that to hit tier 1 or tier 2, that's to 2,000 weighting out of 10,000. Well, that's a 20% chance to hit tier 1 or tier 2 max life, which means it's going to take me on average 5 times to reforge keeping suffixes like this. 5 times on average to hit what I want to move forward. And let's go through. Somebody asked in the chat, am I doing a patch notes analysis? No, I'm going to leave patch notes analysis to the content creators who are much more familiar with the game. I'm very familiar with specific aspects of the game, like what I'm talking about right here, but I am not when it comes to more well-rounded understanding of the game balance. So I am not going to be making a video on that. I'm afraid I'm going to stay in my lane for that. No, maybe someday I'll become more knowledgeable about patch notes, but that's a side note. So it's real simple here. I don't have to I don't have to do anything crazy with this craft. I just need to do it again, which is really convenient because maybe the seller on TFT, which is where I'm probably getting this craft, maybe he has multiple versions of this craft. Sometimes people have 2 or 3, and I can actually just get them done, a few right in a row. Second try, max chaos resistance. Now, this only has 4 modifiers, so what I might do in this case is exalt slam it in. But I don't want to just exalt slam. The best thing to do there, I may need to rephrase this actually to say a beast exalt. I should probably do that. Yeah, beast exalt slam. Just to clarify, it's of course much cheaper because you're only using a Krakic. Forgetting the name of it. Anyway, add a modifier to a hunter influenced item. It takes 2 red beasts. Together they cost less than half an exalt. You can look those up. I've explained it in previous videos. But yeah, that's going to be essentially, now it's not an option on here because the website doesn't have that available. So effectively, it's like using Exalted Orb, and go figure, I hit a max life roll because it's such a high weighting. I'm probably going to hit a max life roll. But once again, I have my 2 prefixes, but I don't have a good max life roll. So I need to go back and harvest reforge keep suffixes. And oh, wow, I hit 3 life. Literally, that's the opposite of hitting 99 life, what I just did. There. So this is try number 3. And again, I did not hit what I want. This is try number 4. And again, hit very low. So I've hit the bottom 2 tiers 3 times in 4 tries. So that's ironic. But yeah, not hitting what I want. Okay, so now I hit, this is try number 5, where I'm starting to hit the average number of times it's going to take. I'm going to Beastcraft Exalt Slam another modifier in, and I get again hit the second bottom modifier for life. So that's quite unlucky, but that's okay. I'll try now 6th time and hit the 3rd bottom modifier. Wow. Okay, try 7th time and hit hit the bottom modifier. Okay, this video is starting to become a meme now for hitting so low on the max life rolls over and over again. This is something like try number 8, and wow, 3rd lowest modifier again. Getting very unlucky here. Finally, at least hit a middle tier modifier. So, playing around with the app right here, I'm actually, this is a somewhat expensive part of the craft, and I'm getting pretty unlucky, actually. So, if this was happening in the real game, I would be looking at probably only just making my money back, but you're probably not going to get that unlucky. if you're doing it. Now, here I hit one of the best modifiers I want to hit, which is Tier 1 increase maximum movement speed. I actually have movement speed on my quiver, and it's very good. I don't even have Tier 1. I only have Tier 2. And I only have Tier 2 life as well. So this is really good. I'm definitely crossing my fingers on this Exalt Slam to hit a top tier max life roll, and I did not, unfortunately. It's not worth trying to null orb off of here. Again, you're just going to go back to this right here. Okay. Now, this is an interesting thing that happened here. A good and bad circumstance. What you see right here in front of you is exactly what I wrote in here when I said, if the harvest reforge results in closing all 3 prefixes with a great outcome. Keyword great outcome. Great is a kind of a high bar, but I absolutely cleared that bar with this hit right here. Sell the item as is for profit. I hit Tier 2 max life, Tier 1 increased movement speed, which is basically the best 2 rolls, and I hit projectiles pierce additional target. That modifier I think looks better than it actually is, but I mean some people might value it. But anyway, just these 2 modifiers here, it makes this item worth a small fortune. I mean, I'm now back to, even with all those extra reforges, I can honestly say I would have still made a decent profit off this item because it hit both of those like that. This is an absolute top tier item. I will prove it to you right here. I will go in here and we'll check max life. We're gonna go 80 or more. Chaos no multiplier, and again, especially with a base that I want, like Sharktooth, it's going to come out worth a lot. Now, I see here, the first thing I see... Now, first of all, this is not the same item because it's not an open suffix. This is... Even a Tier 2 dexterity roll is pretty garbage for Toxic Rain, but they do have the movement speed and max life, which is quite interesting. In fact, I will go ahead and actually add the movement speed in here. Movement speed roll. This is offline 2 days ago, so this is probably just somebody trying to liquidate everything it has. It's honestly probably somebody who was wearing this quiver and is literally just trying to liquidate what it is. So I don't really count this as a true sale. You will see here that we got another random base here item. This is a month ago. Now this might have been a real sell. Probably was, because it got increased projectile speed, which ironically will actually be worth something next season for Toxic Rain. But in this case, it's garbage. So again, it's still not the same craft. Then we got something here with Tier 1, but again, it's still not the same craft. Finally, we hit one that is an actually looks like the same craft that I'm having here, and it's on a penetrating arrow quiver, which is not a good base for Toxic Rain by and large. 65 exalts. This looks exactly. This is exactly what I saw all through the midway of the season. I kept seeing items just like this. I would see like 3 or 4 of them up at a time. They would come and go, you know, as quickly as they came up. They would just be gone at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 exalts, like the ones that I sold. Similar, except without the Aisling craft. Okay, this is no Aisling craft. We go up a little higher. I don't. This is a little bit overpriced here at 120 exalts. I don't know. If I was running Divine Flesh, maybe I would pay that much for this, but probably not with the wrong base. People were even crafting the artillery quivers this way, thinking that people would want to. I don't know, but yeah, I'm a little curious actually on standard what this looks like on standard. For some reason, there's like nothing available on standard. I don't know. Standard's not a good judge here. I saw more. I'm a little confused as to why there's so few, even offline. But I swear to you, I saw like 3 or 4 of these up always at a time. They were consistently 40, 50, 60 exalts. So yeah, that's why in this case, you would just sell this item. This item is worth at least 50 exalts to me, in my mind. At least 50 exalts. Right there, what you're looking at. Of course, I would re-benchcraft in attack speed to sell it. But let's... oh, I don't even have to undo here. But let's do this again. We got to finish out the craft completely. So there I hit max chaos res. and I'm gonna beast exalt slam. Another hit tier 1 max life. Finally hit a good life roll. Okay. Okay, so now this quiver looks pretty dang good. We can definitely move on. We got 5 affixes, 2 prefixes, exactly like I want. It does have an open prefix with an open prefix remaining, with a tier 1 or tier 2 max life roll with an open prefix remaining. So we can now skip this step. Says here, step 10, scour. Now we're getting to the part where we're going to do Eisling, and this is my take on the item. Actually, the other crafters didn't do what I'm doing, but in my opinion, it's actually worth doing this. Now I'll show you exactly why. I think it's worth doing. It may have looked like it took me a while to hit the high max life roll, but on average, it's only taking you 5 reforges. And the degree of value increase you get from getting an Eisling prefix on an item like this, absolutely worth it. And I'll show you what kind of results you may get here. So Metacraft, we got to scour off the bench mod here. So scour off. Next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna blow 4 exalts here by crafting 3. Can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. I do actually think it's worth spending here. We've already confirmed that we're gonna get a lot of value out of this, very likely. Now what I'm doing here may mess things up and it may make you regret it, and you don't necessarily have to go the Eisling route. You can just sell it for profit if you really want to. But I don't regret doing the Eisling route. A couple times I did. And that's because it's not actually a 50-50. It's actually a 66% chance to get a good result. Metacraft suffixes cannot be changed and use tier 4 Eisling. So that's a total of 8 exalts to do all that extra, just to get a super good prefix on here. Because I could slam another prefix in, and I don't know. I mean, maybe it would come out to movement speed, but chances are maybe not. Yeah, can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. We're gonna go to that here. Suffixes cannot be changed. And now when I Eisling, it's going to either take off the benchcraft, suffixes cannot be changed, or it's going to take off the maximum chaos res, or worst case scenario, it takes off the max life roll. If it takes off the max life roll, of course I'm going to have to go back a few steps. But I got a 2 out of 3 chance of this coming out really good. And this is especially a good time to do it because I don't really even care about the max chaos resist roll. It looks pretty, it's nice to have, but it's not even going to have a function for most players. So let's get the Eisling in here, see what happens. Okay, this is a great result. Honestly, this is the best result I could have had right here, because what happened here is it ripped off the max chaos res roll and it left the suffixes cannot be changed. And I'm gonna explain why this is actually preferable in this case. What do we do next here? Step 12. Skip this step assuming tier 4 Eisling didn't remove maximum life, which it did not. So, by the way, this is otherwise harvest reforged life. We'll get into that in a minute here. Unveil the item assuming Eisling removed the benchcraft. She did not remove the benchcraft, so I am not immediately unveiling. Very important. Not immediately unveiling. Otherwise, scour crafted modifiers. So we're actually, next step, this is the part that a lot of people are probably going to miss right here. I'm actually not going to unveil this outright. I have an opportunity to block a prefix now, which I wouldn't have if she ripped off the benchcraft. But because I'm only sitting at 2 prefixes, I can block. Otherwise, scour crafted modifiers and benchcraft rank 1, X fire, X cold. It doesn't really matter. Just benchcraft one of the double attack modifiers, which is this right here. So I put this on here. Now, why did I put this on here? Because now I'm about to unveil. And before I unveil, let's see what the weightings are. So we go down to veiled weightings on prefixes. there's some really good options here. One of the best options you can get is a very healthy armor and evasion roll. Super nice. I mean, that is a huge amount of armor, flat armor and evasion, worth more than you get on like gloves and boots, just straight up on the piece. For people running Ghost Dance, which is really popular, I'm not running Ghost Dance this season. I thought about it actually, but evasion and maximum shield would be best. Even just the evasion roll or just the armor roll would be really good. It looks like armor and energy shield is not an option, however, because Quivers are, of course, evasion-based characters. It could hit max life, but it can't because we have maximum life already on it. So this weighting gets scrapped completely. So we're looking at a great roll, a good roll, a roll I can't hit. Then we come to max mana and life regen. Now, actually, in my opinion, this is still a very good roll because in this day and age, auras are a thing, and getting more maximum mana gives you the opportunity to adjust your auras and have more flexibility with the auras, maybe even add an aura. And also the flat life regen, that's nothing to sneeze at either. That's my gear here. I am super glad that I had this ring right here. This ring that I have, when I did my Aisling, I hit max mana and life regen per second on the ring, and I am very happy about that because in certain gear setups, it was actually the only source of absolute life regen that I had on my gear, and you need to have at least one source of it, so you can get that through here. And even if you have decent life regen, 33 life per second still an okay roll. So again, the max mana plus the life regen, I still think that's a good roll. Now we have the bad ones. However, these are going to be very good for the attack, for the players running attack. Like my Burning Arrow Elementalist wanted the dual damage modifiers. So Elemental Hit is going to want modifiers like this. So it's going to change things a little bit if you're crafting for a different kind of character. But for Toxic Rain, I do not want the adds fire and cold, add fire and lightning, add cold and lightning. So I'm blocking with one of them. And then, hey, guess what? Because June gives me 3 options, even if I get scuffed with 2 of the other ones, I still have a guaranteed chance to hit one of the very useful ones here. So this is guaranteed to be a decent opportunity. And that's why I think it's worth Aisling, especially because a lot of the times, the Aisling things, even if you get that, even if she rips off the modifier you want and gives you the proper veil setup, you even still may not get the veil modifier you want. In this case, we have some really good options and not very many bad options of veiled modifier results. So it's good. It's a really good idea. So let's unveil this here, and we can see that I came out with 1 damage modifier. I came out with evasion plus max energy shield. I would absolutely pick that if I was running Ghost Dance. Or, I might go with max life and regen too, because maybe I want a little bit more mana. Maybe my mana situation's a little bit tight, and this is going to loosen things up for me really nicely. So let's say I pick this option. What do I do next? Let's see here. I don't want to lose where I'm at here. Otherwise, unveil the item. Assuming Aisling removed the benchcraft, otherwise go. Okay, benchcraft cannot roll. Ah, yes. Okay, so this is really cool here. So block that. Then unveil the veiled modifier for a hopefully favorable prefix. I don't even have to say hopefully. I'm actually going to delete this word because you don't have to hope for it. It's guaranteed. You're guaranteed to get a favorable prefix. And then benchcraft cannot roll attack modifiers again. Okay. Gonna benchcraft let's do one last time. And again, this is 1x. That's why the 1x is there. Again, we're talking about a quiver that's worth over 50x. Definitely worth doing it one more time, and you'll see why. Cannot roll attack modifiers. All right, we're almost done with the craft, and then Beastcraft Exalt Slam the final prefix. For the sake of consistency, I will go ahead and write it out up here. So in the app, I'm just going to use Exalted Orb. Boom. Oh, well, that's hilarious. I put max chaos res back on there. But as you can see, you know, I might have a chance to hit that movement speed again right here. Oh, wow! Look at that quiver. Wow, what if this was the final result? I mean, this is better than my quiver. Like unequivocally better than my quiver, right here. Yeah, so you can see that result is pretty nice. I'm gonna back it up a little bit here, actually, and. Right here, I want to show you what you do if you Aisling and it takes off the benchcraft like this right here. Okay, so it just ripped off the benchcraft. Though I still have the 2 prefixes in case. Now my prefixes are locked. There's no way I can block anything, which does mean there is a small possibility that I hit all 3 of these attack or these flat damage modifiers, and I do not hit one of the ones I want, but the chance is very small. You can see the weightings for the higher ones are even higher. You know, you got 4,500 versus 3,000. You know, the chances that you're not going to hit at least one of the good ones is very small, even if you can't block. Still worth paying the extra exalt if you can block. But in this case, I have no other option. You know, I can't do anything. It doesn't matter what I do with the suffix here. I have no other option but to unveil. And, wow, this is a good result. Okay, so the best option here for me is the armor and evasion roll. Right here. This is still a terrific quiver. Here. Let's see. I actually did technically forget one step, and that step is to benchcraft a... I should write that in real time. Benchcraft a suffix of your choice. Actually, no. Benchcraft 12% attack speed. Use a combination of harvest, rerolls until the item has perfect rolls in the double dot multi, or nearly perfect rolls everywhere else. Yeah, so we are going to, of course, put the most, in terms of advertising your item for the most value, you're definitely going to want to put attack speed on this. And you're probably going to do this craft next season. You're going to do this craft with the attack speed base. So it's going to have attack speed implicit and attack speed explicit, which is right here. Oh, I have to scour the benchcraft modifier. Boom. Okay. And then you're going to harvest craft reroll until you get the damage over time multipliers to 2625 for sure. You're going to want 2625. I'm using a divine orb because that function doesn't exist within the website. You're more likely to hit it with harvest reforge all. That did hit here. So this is good. This is the kind of result you'd look for. The max life roll isn't good. I would still be re-rolling prefix only to get the armor evasion and the max life roll to near max. Wouldn't have to be absolutely max. But yeah, that's where you're at. The craft is done. I basically showed you every single possibility, different variations and things I would think about in certain points in the craft. There were a couple of really great examples that you were able to see through the app that showed in a particular case where I would have just sold the item outright midway through the craft. Totally would have done that and made good profit on it. This is a very high-end niche craft, which means if there are too many people trying to craft this item, it will go down in value a little bit. And again, like I said, I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot a little bit by sharing this one. Unlike the other two crafts, they were a little bit more well-known. This one is really not well-known. I guarantee you this craft is not well-known, especially the part with cannot reforge attack modifiers. So hopefully that was a big takeaway for you in there. And I will, of course, show all this information in the description below. I will give you a link to my loot filter, my trade filter here, which are all kind of various setups for the process of seeing what the item is worth at various steps. So you can follow along that way. And just for fun, I suppose the next thing I'll do maybe a little bit of this. But now that'll take too long. Yeah, I might go ahead and craft myself another one, even though it's 1 week to the end of the season. Why not, right? I got apparently got 200 exalts to blow. So that's basically it for the video. I don't think there's anything else left to say. You know, I did double check the pricing points on this. Actually, the pricing looks quite similar to the amulet craft, with a fairly low minimum cost and somewhat higher average cost. But again, I never saw. First of all, I didn't even actually see the Aisling variations of this quiver sold, except for the one I sold for 75 exalts. But again, if you skip the Aisling step, I mean, my goodness, you're saving what? You're saving 2, 6, 8, 12, 13, 14. You're saving well over 10 exalts. So, you know, if you skip the Aisling step, you know, your average costs go down to 30x or less. And even that quiver is basically guaranteed to sell at least 40x. According to what I saw in the marketplace throughout most of the season here, this was just an incredibly lucrative craft. I highly recommend you think about doing it for yourself. Either craft your own quiver or craft it for sale. You know, if you're not running a multi-class bow class, then you can still craft this for profit very easily. Thank you guys for checking out the video, and still got a few more to make. It's crunch time at the end of the season. A few more videos I want to make before it comes out. Of course, I do still have to talk about Toxic Rain, everything I learned from Toxic Rain, kind of what I am going to make a video about how I kind of plan to start the next season with Toxic Rain again. And, you know, stay tuned for that video. It'll be a good one, I think. I will not be making another crafting video until early next season. I already have some in mind for that. Probably chest, body armor for that one. One I made a lot of money off of the first season I played, actually. So yeah, I'm out for now. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.